Hi everyone, my name is Jane and this is Courtney, and we are the co-founders of Ovee. We are a team of user-centered designers, developers, and former health scientists, and Ovee stemmed from our shared experiences when it came to our sexual and reproductive health. As we were looking for answers to our own problems, we realized that we were not alone in our struggles. This is Maddie. She is one of the over 100 women that we spoke with who expressed similar struggles when it came to her sexual and reproductive health. She is 22 years old and recently moved back in with her parents. A few weeks before we spoke with her, Maddie was experiencing some frequent urination and burning when she peed. It really freaked her out, but she was too embarrassed to talk to her parents about it. So Maddie did what most of us do, and she went to Google, which only terrified her even more. Even though it did point her in the right direction and suggested that she might have a urinary tract infection, the overly clinical information that she found made it so that she didn't even want to go in and get tested. She was desperate for an alternative, so Maddie talked to a friend who suggested that in these situations, cranberry juice might be helpful. So Maddie went out and she bought way too many cranberry products. And it turned out that after a week, nothing really changed and that this really isn't an option for her. And by the time that Maddie found an urgent care facility, her simple UTI had progressed into a full-blown kidney infection. She was forced to spend several hours in the hospital and to take a really strong and costly regimen of antibiotics. And while this may seem like a really extreme case, Maddie is not alone. We talked to over, again, 100 women, and we had heard similar stories throughout their experiences. And this is concerning because at Maddie's age, women are at the highest risk for not only contracting a UTI, but STIs, including HPV, which if left untreated, can lead to cervical cancer. And the current trends in healthcare don't make it any easier on Maddie. The number of obstetricians and gynecologists in parts of the US make it extremely difficult to find care and have created contraception and resource deserts for over 19 million women. The areas in white here have 0 gynecologists for the 10,000 women that need them. And this is only going to get worse. It's projected that by 2020, there will be 8,000 fewer gynecologists than needed. And to be completely honest, these trends aren't new. The undervaluing and stigmatization of women's sexual and reproductive health in the United States has caused women to be continually left out of the conversation when it comes to their health and their bodies. We want to change that narrative. What if instead, Maddie's friend refers her to Ovee, an app that she found when she went to the Student Health Center for her period issues, and Ovee helps to shorten the timeline for Maddie to seek care.
So Ovee is our platform that we've created and designed specifically for Maddie to give her the tools that she needs to take control of her sexual and reproductive health. So instead, immediately Maddie is able to ask her questions in a safe space where she doesn't have to feel embarrassed, stigmatized, and doesn't have all of that added anxiety from a Google or WebMD search. So think of us like Maddie's personal research concierge, providing her with the most probable causes instead of the most dramatic ones. Using our user data as well as electronic health records, we're able to use machine learning to train a recommendation system. So in this case, we were able to recognize that Maddie had a UTI and recommend that she see a healthcare provider as soon as possible. When talking with Maddie, it was also really important to her that she have the opinion of other women, especially when it comes to her sexual and reproductive health. So Maddie is able to check in with our Ovee community and talk with other women that have had similar issues. Instead of Maddie having to navigate the really complicated healthcare provider network on her own, we're able to immediately locate Maddie a doctor based on her preferences, her friends' recommendations, her location, as well as her insurance. So if Maddie didn't have insurance, we would be able to point her in the direction of free to low-cost resources. After her visit, Maddie is able to monitor her symptoms and take actionable steps to prevent any reinfection. We're also reimagining the way that Maddie engages with her health content. So we're providing her with very easily digestible information as well as shareable content around women's health and advocacy and tips for her to have uncomfortable discussions.
No more vagina.
Sorry about that.
It's going to make you guys watch it a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's a matching.
It's Amy. Okay.
So our goal is to create a really meaningful long-term relationship with Maddie. So as her plans change, Ovee will adapt to help her navigate her healthcare no matter what stage of her life. Over the span of a woman's lifetime, there's a huge market for women's reproductive health, especially in the age demographic of 15 to 24. And there are a lot of companies out there that are solving issues in women's reproductive health care, but unfortunately the fragmentation only adds to the noise when Maddie is trying to find resources. Our goal is to create a comprehensive and inclusive ecosystem around women's reproductive health, bridging the gap between resources, helping Maddie navigate it on her own. For example, we're not only able to connect Maddie to an urgent care clinic, but we're also able to connect her to Lola, an organic tampon brand that might help reduce any further irritation. We're also able to connect her to O-School, a video platform where she can watch tutorials on how to help her avoid body shame. Along with these female-centric publications and brands, we also discovered opportunities within corporate employee assistant programs as well as insurance programs, providing front-end support for them to help increase their member and employee engagement. All of these revenue opportunities allow us to allocate a fraction of our profits to provide services for women in underserved communities, as well as to provide support to our users at no cost to them.
With all that in mind, right now we are focused on building those partnerships. We are also participating in the Matter Accelerator and actively hiring a back-end developer and medical advisor. So if you know anyone, let us know. By the end of next week, we will be releasing our web-based chat at ovee.me, so check it out. And over the next 3 months, we'll be continuing to build partnerships and do ongoing user research. And by September, we will be releasing our Ovee beta app and beginning our $500,000 seed round. At this moment in time, in our current political and social climate, women are constantly faced with barriers when it comes to their sexual and reproductive health. It's time for us to shift that paradigm and for women to lead the conversation. So join us in our mission to empower women to take control of their health. Thank you.
Thank you.